Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Take One, where we give you our first take on a film we just watched. Today's cast is me. I'm Joe. Over here we got...
I'm Demetrius.
And
I'm Milsa.
Yeah, you look a lot different from the first video, actually. It's been a while. How you been?
I'm good.
No, this is Frank, guys. Welcome to the show, Frank.
Welcome, Frank.
How's it going?
It's great. So we just saw It Chapter 2. And I think I'm going to start us off just by saying I loved this movie. I loved it so much. Loved everything about it. I think this is horror done right. Because it's not all jump scares. There's moments where they just let the tension build. And I think they also have a great use of audio, specifically in that one scene with that one scene with the old lady. Like, before the creepy old lady jumps out, you just hear her footsteps first, and the pounding, like, that got to me.
That was super scary.
Right?
That was nice.
Yeah, I liked that. What were your favorite scary scenes, I guess?
Oh my goodness. I think my favorite scary scene is, like, most definitely when the old lady comes out, when she's just in the darkness, and then you see this huge, like, weird creature, tall, slender man looking thing coming at you. Like, it was very creepy. So yeah, there were a couple of creepy old long-armed women looking things in that movie. It was strange, but
there was definitely a theme to it.
Yeah, kept happening over again. There's at least like 3. Count them when you watch it.
What about you?
It's hard to pick. At the beginning, when Pennywise pulls that guy who's like beaten half to death out of the water. That was, like, disturbing, because it's like, he's already dying and he's reaching for help, and then his boyfriend just watches him get his heart ripped out.
And that's, like, at the top of the film. They don't hold back on the clown. I love that.
Oh, yeah.
It's not like you're waiting the whole movie to see him from the last act. Yeah. I like that a lot.
Yes, and there's actually like another scene that I really enjoyed that was super scary. So it was the Paul Bunyan scene. He's just sitting on the bench and then he looks over and there's this huge Paul Bunyan head with like razor sharp teeth looking at him and yells at him or screams or whatever. I thought like my soul left my body.
I've got a good segue from that. So in that scene, I know we sat next to each other, so we were kind of talking about it. Finn Wolfhard looked fucked up the entire movie. The kid from Stranger Things, who was the young Richie. Mm-hmm. I don't know what it was. Like all the flashback scenes with all the kids, they all look normal except for Finn. Like, his face just didn't look right. It looked so bad.
Yes. So what they did with that, the reason why Finn's face looks so messed up is because they use CGI to have a de-aging process with their face. Mm-hmm. So I'm not exactly sure how it works, but I know that it's like part of it. And also you'll notice something when they're speaking with their voices, especially in the beginning. It seemed like their voices was like almost sped up and then like raised a couple notches. Like, you could tell there was something done with their voices. That was something that was super noticeable to me. I asked Joe during the movie. She didn't really notice it. So you may not notice it. We'll see.
I didn't notice either of those things.
Oh.
Okay. This is the first time that I even, like, connected those dots in my head. And I'm gonna have to rewatch it to pick up on it.
No, Frank, this is take one, our first take. No more rewatching.
That's right.
What else did I put in my notes? Okay. Something I really liked about this film was when they were first going through and reintroducing us to, like, all the characters now that they're older. Mm-hmm. I thought those, like, really quick introduction scenes were great. They were really, like, tightly written, and there was so much information packed into those. Like, right away we know that Eddie is still a nervous wreck who married someone kind of like his mother. We know that, what's his name? Is it Bill, the main guy, which is Professor X, right? Like, he still has issues with Georgie. Bev is still in that cycle of abuse that she wanted. Like, there's so much packed into those scenes, and I'm like, it was done so well. I love the writing in the beginning. I think I liked it all the way throughout. What do you guys think?
I liked the writing at the beginning. I think the beginning, I have to agree, those introduction scenes were really gripping. It was really fascinating. And just to give a disclaimer, I've never read the book, I've never seen the miniseries, and I haven't seen the 2017 movie of Part 1. So this is a completely new experience. But getting introduced to these characters, it was pretty interesting. Like, to watch what their lives are like now. You get a brief glimpse of them as kids beforehand, I think. Mm-hmm. I think the writing steadily gets worse. It never gets terrible, but I think the third act is really cheesy. Like, it just gets really kind of, I don't know, generic. Like, at the during the big, like, climax of the movie with the monster.
I can see that. I can definitely see, like, the tone was a little toward that
silly.
third act.
It was silly.
It did get silly because Bill Hader was still cracking jokes, but I think it made sense for the character because, like, that's how he deals with situations. And, like, it never bugged me personally. I liked the entire film. I can't think of one line where I was like, ew, that didn't feel right. Like, I just thought it was fine.
So, do you want to say your favorite line in the movie?
Oh my goodness. So there's this one scene where Michael, he's the one that stayed in Derry. He stayed in Derry and called everyone to come together and kill it. So there's this one scene, it's towards the very end, and he's looking at Pennywise, and he's like, I'm not afraid of you, and I'm not afraid of you because I know who you are. And then Pennywise looks at Michael, and he's like, I know who you are. A madman. And then I just look over at Frank and Joe. I'm just like, what just happened?
They don't
Did
elaborate at all.
Pennywise just say that?
Yeah, it's
No,
weird.
not at all. And there was another scene in the first film that I thought was super cringy, and I'm like, who wrote this shit? So Pennywise says, I feast on your fear as I feast on your flesh. Or maybe it was vice
The other
versa.
way
But
around.
either way, it was just super cringy. I thought a
that
fifth
makes-
grader.
That makes sense.
It was super cheesy.
But that's
though,
what
to me.
Pennywise does. He uses fear.
I kind of like that
and
line,
that's
to be
how
honest.
they defeated him in the end.
Okay, well, yeah, I see that was like a way to like make them be more afraid, but I thought that line was just super cheesy. It was cringy to me.
I disagree.
Speaking of the one-liners and cracking jokes, when Richie was like, this is all spoilers. I mean, if you're this far,
yeah,
it's
spoiler
pretty
review.
obvious by this point. But Eddie dies, and when he's dead, and you know they've killed the clown, and the whole place is collapsing, I was really expecting him to go, haha, just kidding, because
Me too.
there's multiple moments in the movie where
The audio, man.
where there's fake outs and like people are like pretending to scare people, and it's like I was really, because Richie was the one who was really upset about it, and I was really expecting Eddie to go, ha, fall for it. But no,
I think he died in
I'm
the original.
so glad they didn't.
They kind of just
That
forgot
would've-
about him.
That would have
At the end
robbed
of
the
the
moment
movie.
completely.
I've seen the original miniseries, and I don't remember much from it. The only thing I remembered was I was like, I think one of them dies before they actually get to Derry, and then it was
Stanley.
Stanley.
Poor Stanley. Wait, I'm confused, though, because there was something at the very end where he wrote them all the letters, and he was like, I had to kill myself. But why? Did I miss that?
Everybody in the group had to be there, and he knew he was too much of a coward to go back, so he removed himself from the group by being dead.
So overall, I thought It Chapter 2 was like an entertaining movie. It was cool to watch, but did it live up to the first one? No. Was it a good story? So in the book, first off, I'm not gonna. So in the book, the story is about the children.
Which
and
you read, right? You read the book?
Yeah, I've read the book.
Yeah.
No, I didn't read the book. But here's the thing. I know that the book is not about the children trying to figure out how to kill the clown the whole movie. That's not what it is. The movie or the book is about the stories and the children. And it is just there. It's a part of the
It
story. It's
represents
not
their
the driving
fear.
function.
It's a symbolism.
It is a
thing.
symbolism, but
Yeah.
it's not about the clown. And I felt like this movie was about them trying to kill the clown.
It's
and
a
it's not that.
symbolism about people's fear of clowns.
Or
But
just
that
fear in
is,
general
if
and
that
crushing
is
that.
it,
No,
then that is
just-
the complete opposite. Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
So, like, I feel like this movie focused too much on how they were trying to kill the clown and all these other things instead of the actual story and what these children and adults are going through. So,
I thought it was a perfect balance of both.
Okay.
I think, because obviously they have no reason to make the movie and go back to the town unless the clown is there, so that's like the driving antagonistic force. But they also spent enough time, a lot of building their own personal stories that were started in the first one. Like, it didn't leave any one of the kids out, I felt like. Like, we still had Mike's issue with his parents and Bill's guilt and kind of a resolution for the whole Ben and Beverly storyline. Like, she found out it was him. Like, I feel like they really covered all the ground with all the kids. They all started somewhere and they ended somewhere. It was nice.
And speaking as somebody who hasn't seen the first one, I feel like just as its own movie, I feel like they do spend enough time developing the kids, or the Losers Club, even Stanley, through their trials for the tokens. You know, you see Ben and he's dealing with like, oh, I'm fat and nobody loves me and I'm alone, and he's got to face that, and Mike's got to deal with the guilt of his brother. Or no, Bill, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Mike has to deal with the fact that his parents are dead, and I guess, I don't know.
How'd they display that, though? I feel like I didn't see
the headline changes. That's definitely one of the weaker ones, I will say.
Yeah, but I think...
Bill deals with the guilt of his brother, and, Beverly, she, goes through her trial, and it's less about the note and more about the abuse that she faced and continues to face. It's like a cycle for her up until this point.
I think they probably focused the least on Mike.
Yeah.
That's because he was already in Derry, so it's not like he was trying to catch everybody else up. Like, because he already had all of the memories. He didn't leave, so he remembered everything. So he was already ready,
Mike got done dirty.
I wonder why. Moving on.
Stop.
So,
is it because he's black?
It might be because he's black. That's my thought. He was the only one that wasn't successful.
It's possible.
We don't know why.
It's because he's black.
That's what
Hollywood doesn't like black people.
I think they like Denzel Washington.
That's one person.
Yeah, we got one person.
There were some creative choices that I didn't like. Specifically, a lot of the transitions. Like, there was this really ugly puzzle piece transition where, like, the camera goes up and it's, like, on a, like, black screen with all these little colors, and I can't figure out what it is, and then it zooms into it, and it's, like, I think it's Stanley looking down at a puzzle, and I was just like, I don't like that. And then there was another one.
If it was quicker, I think it would have worked better, but it just takes too long.
It took too long. I couldn't figure out what it was. And then one more that I didn't like, which I think it was with the character of Bill. It was, like, focused on old Bill's face, and then it transitioned to young Bill's face by having the younger actor, like, walk into where...
That was Eddie.
Was it Eddie?
In the pharmacy.
Okay. Yeah, it was Eddie in the pharmacy. I didn't like that. It looked too jarring. It just looked ugly to me on screen, which they hadn't done that. There was only one transition I liked. It was in the very beginning, when it transitioned from the gay guy getting killed, and it, like, we hear the children's voices, and it goes up in the trees, and you think it's like, oh, all the kids that Pennywise killed, and it is, and then it transitions, like, into the carnival setting, and I was like, that was cool. That was the only one I liked,
the balloon transition in the asylum, and Bowser's house.
Bowers in my room. That was a really funny line.
Oh my goodness. Now, I want to talk about that scene. I felt like this movie had a lot of pacing issues. Like, there were a couple of moments where I'm just like, okay, whoa, what's going on? Like, so specifically, there's a scene where Eddie's looking in the mirror, and then he just got back from facing off Pennywise. Yeah, he just finished facing Pennywise in the basement of the pharmacy. They went back to the inn, and Eddie goes upstairs. He's looking in the mirror, washing his hands, I guess, or washing the blood off his face. And then he closes the mirror again, and then there is Bowers standing right behind him. And I'm just like, okay. So then Bowers stabs Eddie in the cheek. And then Eddie's just like, oh my goodness, ow. And then he does this really weird thing that, I don't know. He just closes the shower curtain. He's like, and then he stabs him through the shower curtain. I'm like,
for some reason,
what is going on right now?
He shouldn't be able to talk after that.
Yeah,
they make an effort to, like, put the CGI blade through his mouth. When his mouth is open when he's in the shower, you can see the blade of the knife in his mouth. Like, he can't just pull it out, put a bandage on it, and go, oh, Bowers is in my room.
Exactly.
He doesn't even sound like that. He sounds completely normal. Like nothing happened. Like it was a scratch.
There's this one scene where Mike hands Bill a drink. Drinks it, and then he starts explaining, okay, now let me explain to you what Pennywise is through this drug I just gave you. And then there's this really weird sequence of hallucinations to explain where Pennywise came from. And I thought, like, okay, it kind of works.
But they didn't really
explain it.
No.
Well, not where he came from, how he got here. Let me say
that.
How he got here and how to kill him.
But I don't... Even then, it was
How
like,
to kill him was really vague.
It was.
And obviously,
Oh, yeah.
I mean, there's a reason why, because they didn't succeed, you know, and Mike scratched off part of the jar. I don't know what you'd call it.
Yeah, the artifact that he got.
Yeah. And that's foreshadowed earlier, because I know Bill, like, tries to look at it, and Mike pulls it away.
Yeah. Like,
Yeah.
no.
Remember, that was, like, 2 seconds.
Yeah.
That whole scene was weird.
Yeah, it was.
Because it doesn't really do a good job of explaining. I guess, like, it's... the only kind of implication you get is that he's from outer space. Because you see a meteor or...
Like,
but
crash.
that's it.
And then, for some reason, they have a carnival.
And somehow it's at the bottom of a silo of some kind. The impact site is in a hole, which is, like, covered with a wooden frame and a hatch. And then there's, like, a nuclear silo or something on top of that. But that's what it looks like, but it's not, because there's, like, a haunted house type thing on the surface.
Yeah, I know.
There's, like, 4 layers of man-made structures.
And let me tell you, when they blow it all up at the end, they totally fuck over Derry's infrastructure and sewer systems, and they don't care.
Yeah.
Although there's probably enough dead kids in Derry's sewer system right now that it's probably messed up. Anyway.
I've got a question for you guys.
Yeah.
Because I know in the first one, which you didn't see, they would throw stuff in the background in certain scenes, like they would throw Pennywise face on a wall. And just, like, have these little things in the background that was like, oh, did you catch that? Just, like, little creepy things. Were you guys looking for that kind of stuff?
Oh, yeah.
I was looking.
I wasn't looking
times.
for it, but I did see a couple.
I didn't see anything, and I'm so mad.
One of them was when you went to go to the bathroom. There was this little girl who went under the bleachers during, like, was it baseball?
It was football.
Yeah, it was baseball.
I didn't even see the scene,
Baseball
and I'm
game.
trying to answer the question.
She goes under following, like, a firefly, and Pennywise chops her head off. But before that, when she's walking under the bleachers, you can see his face for, like, half a second. Then it cuts away and cuts back, and it's not there anymore.
Okay.
That's the only one I caught where I didn't think it was supposed to be seen.
Okay.
Like, I mean, like, yes, it's supposed to be seen. It's an Easter egg, but, like,
It's
there's some Pennywise appearances where they obviously want everyone to catch it. And that's the only one where I think it was, like, a hidden one.
Okay.
That I caught. Did you catch any others?
Yeah, there was a cool cameo to the very first It with, was it, who played the first Pennywise?
Tim Curry.
Tim Curry, yes. Tim Curry's Pennywise. Towards the very, very end of the scene when they've already, like, basically killed Pennywise, he, like, pops up for a second, but you definitely see the old Pennywise. I thought that was a really cool moment. I'm like, okay, that's Tim Curry. So...
Oh, was that when when Mike's reaching for the heart?
When he's a little wrinkly baby.
And there's the jump scare.
Yes.
That was okay. All right.
Oh yeah.
I didn't catch that it looked like the old It.
I didn't either, but I was just thinking, oh,
I
he's a
heard
little
you say
wrinkly
something
baby
about
now.
it. Yeah.
Yes.
There was one thing that I caught in the background that wasn't necessarily scary. It was just like a cool little Easter egg. When they're doing the Bowers thing in the psych ward and he's going to the window and the camera quickly pans from, like, the people in the psych ward to where Bowers is freaking out. And on the TV, I think there's a Tom and Jerry cartoon where they're following a stake down drains in the side of the road. So that's one little thing I noticed.
Here's something big that I noticed. I'm not sure if Bill learned from his mistakes from the first film, because in the first film, he tries to fight Pennywise alone. And then the second film, he tries to fight Pennywise alone.
He got really emotional.
And then, well, yeah. But you're supposed to learn from your mistakes if you're gonna... That's the whole point of a story. You're supposed to learn... You're supposed to start off as something, be some kind of driving factor to the conflict, and then learn from that mistake. It kind of just started over. He got emotional, got pissed off, and tried to fight Pennywise alone. But, you know, of course, the Losers Club showed up. But my thing is, I got a little thrown off by that because it was a little distracting when I was thinking about it. It's like, okay, why are you doing this again? You already tried that in the first film, you know?
Listen, Bill. Really generic names. Bill's real character arc was being able to write. We open up with his, like, interior room, which is so me when writing a screenplay. And then in the end, he's like, I wrote chapter 1. Like, that was his arc.
Chapter 1.
No, but actually talking about his arc, I think that made sense. Because he
saw
still
another
wasn't...
kid die.
Yeah, he wasn't over Georgie yet. He had to get over Georgie. And that happened after he went, after Pennywise alone. Because they all went through their kind of, like, weird sequences where they had to deal with their own shit. And he dealt with it there. So he was still growing. He was still on his road to change, I think.
Okay. So, there's another thing that I would like to mention.
Okay.
So, oh man, the way they, I guess, kill Pennywise is just very strange to me. They bully him in a sense, and I thought that was weird.
It Chapter 2 is very pro bullying.
Yeah.
Yeah, what do you guys think of the ending? Did you hate the ending?
Gosh. He's like, you mother effing clown, you. He was talking shit about Pennywise, and then Pennywise is like, oh damn, I feel bad. I feel small now.
No,
it's not even like we're not afraid of you, or oh, you're just a clown.
Right.
That's some of it, but some of it's like fuck you, you fucking idiot.
But
and then he's like shriveling up, and it's like
that's how I would talk to it.
Well, yeah, if you weren't afraid of it, but it was just weird how I just didn't like how that happened.
It was very convenient.
Yeah.
Real talk though, when there's ghosts
Pennywise
in my
seems
house,
smarter than that to not take that to heart.
Wait, I gotta finish my sentence
Okay, go ahead.
if people just hear that, they're not gonna understand what I'm trying to say.
Okay.
When I think there's like ghosts in my house and I'm all alone and I'm scared, I just fucking yell at them like, "Who the fuck do you think you are? Get out of here!" Like that's exactly how I would talk to Pennywise. I thought it made sense.
And then one shows itself, and then you die. You shit your pants.
Yeah.
See, like it totally makes sense what you're saying right now, but to see it on screen. They're yelling at this clown, talking shit about it, like, you ugly mother. Like,
after they've it's impaled Eddie.
I'll give you that.
Right. So
yeah, you think
I thought it was just really weird. So yeah, there's that.
They're obviously scared. Pennywise knows they're scared,
but
and now they're suddenly pretending not to be scared, and he somehow believes it.
Yeah, I think that's a little bit
when
of a
he's had emotional control over these 7, now 6, now 5 kids for over 20-something years. Like, he's had complete control, and he uses them like puppets, like their emotions. And suddenly, he believes that they're free, like emotionally, that they're no longer afraid of him, after he literally just impaled one of their friends. I don't know, it was pretty goofy.
Yeah.
I agree with you, but I also think in those individual parts leading up to that, where they're all dealing with their own shit, it kind of hinted at them getting through it, or getting over it. That helps a little bit, but I totally see what you're saying.
Yeah.
So
in the film, wait, sorry.
No, it's good.
And you know what? I kind of agree with that. And like the only one who doesn't really like in the house section, the haunted house type place, Eddie shuts down and he dies as a result of that. So I guess maybe you're right, because the others, they fight off Stanley's spider head, which is a homage to the Thing.
Which is a nice little callback to the caps.
The caps?
Yeah, when they were in the clubhouse, he was like, "We gotta wear caps, or else the spiders are gonna get in our hair." And then he's a spider.
I looked at it like a reference to John Carpenter's The Thing.
Oh, it could also be that.
The alien transforms into like a head on legs.
Yeah, it was almost like
I
foreshadowing too, because like Pennywise turns into that.
That's also true. Yeah.
Another thing is like there was this ongoing joke about Bill's ending being sucky, and that's kind of how I felt about this movie's ending. It's kind of sucky. I didn't like it.
Yeah, that's pretty meta.
That's just me.
And I don't know if they knew that ahead of time. Somebody must have known. But I don't know if that was intended. It doesn't excuse it, but it is kind of clever, I guess, in a weird way.
Well, maybe it's because
by making your
very weird
because
way.
you're accepting that your ending is bad instead of fixing it.
Right. It was like they're preparing us for a bad ending. I'm like, okay, this is starting to make me think: is this gonna be a shitty ending?
But maybe
Did
it's
the book have a bad ending?
That's what I was thinking.
Well, we didn't read it.
We didn't read it. But I'm thinking the end has probably received a lot of criticism because it's not some big
because they made a lot of jokes about it way in advance.
Way in advance,
like Bill's first scene. And so I thought maybe that was a jab at Stephen King, or a jab at the fans for just saying it's a bad ending, or him poking fun at himself.
I liked the ending. I thought it was good. The only thing I didn't like in that last act, that last scene, I thought that flashy lighting made it so hard to follow what was happening when they were like running around and he was chasing them. I was like, I can't see. I don't know what's happening.
Yeah, flashing blue lights are...
It's hard to look at.
Like, it kind of sucks the life out of the scene. Like, I saw... Godzilla King of the Monsters, and it's the same thing where every fight is at night in that movie, and it's like blue and yellow lights.
Yep.
But everything is so dark, I just don't care because I can't see it clearly.
That's how I felt about Black Panther. Like, at least in the beginning scene when he's like fighting all the
Yeah,
people
at night,
nighttime. I'm
with the
like, I
Jeeps
can't
and
see
stuff.
Yeah, it was
anything.
so hard to see. I hated that.
Don't film your action scenes at night.
Don't do it.
Especially if you're using lots of CGI. I know it makes it easier to hide bad CGI, but don't do it. 'Cause the investment that your audience has will just disappear.
Filming with
in my
Frank.
opinion.
A little
Advice.
distracting.
Yeah.
Just like with the de-aging scenes with...
Finn
Oh my
Wolfhard.
gosh.
I can't believe I didn't notice
So
that.
bad.
Yeah, you gotta check that out, especially with the voices too. You'll catch it, I promise. Okay, so one thing that I noticed, I think this was like foreshadowing. Pretty positive that it is. So, okay, there is a beginning scene, and it is the guy who is. It starts off the movie. So he's shooting this water gun game. It's a game where you have to shoot water out of a gun and into a clown's mouth, and then it blows up a balloon. So notice that the balloon was red, and also pay attention to the fact that it was going inside of the clown's mouth. So that same character who was doing that ends up getting beat up, and then he dies. Now, Eddie, towards the end of the movie, he has a spear and throws it into the clown's mouth, Pennywise, and then Eddie dies. So I thought that was interesting foreshadow piece right there, I guess.
Yeah, it was. That was good. It blew my mind when you told me that. I didn't connect the dots there.
Okay, so overall, I enjoyed watching this movie. I thought it was a little too long, but it's still definitely enjoyable. Yeah, I'll give this movie you get a thumb like that. Not all the way up, but like, not sideways. So it's like right there.
Okay. I can respect that. Frank, you want to go next?
Yeah. It's entertaining. It's cool. Like it's visually interesting.
It's cool,
Visually
guys.
interesting. The characters are great. Poor Mike got screwed over. And I recommend this movie to anybody who liked the first one. I'm assuming, right? If you guys like the first one, and I would recommend it to just people who like kind of creepy, cool. I didn't think it was all that scary. It was kind of creepy, but not like I didn't scream. Yes. As long as you know what you're getting into, because it is almost 3 hours long, which I did not realize before we walked in the theater.
It's 2:15, isn't it?
2 hours and 45 minutes.
Oh, is it 45?
Mm-hmm.
Really? It didn't feel that long.
It is long, and I didn't really... just be prepared for that.
Yeah.
I did enjoy all the time that I spent watching these characters. The story kind of took like a 20-minute break just to spend more time with these characters. But I was okay with it. It was entertaining. I'm glad I watched it. And if you're prepared for 3 hours, you're going to like the characters too, more than likely. So I recommend it.
Okay, yeah. I loved this movie so much. I thought it was a great sequel. I thought it wrapped up everything very nicely, and it carried a lot of stuff over from the first film. I love Bill Hader. I thought he was amazing. He made me cry. He made me laugh. I think he was my favorite character out of all of the kids in the Losers Club. I liked the editing. I liked the sound design. I even liked the color palette, specifically around Derry. It was a lot of greens and reds and oranges. Like, it felt like fall in a way.
Mm-hmm.
And I like, what's his name? Bill Skarsgård?
Yes.
Skarsgård,
As Pennywise. I always liked
Phenomenal.
him. Yeah.
Pretty good.
Pretty good.
Pennywise is a stupid character, okay? So
I thought it was
think
too goofy for me.
I think Pennywise is
But they
goofy,
even
so
made
it's
fun
very
of that.
appropriate.
Okay.
They made fun of that in the film, and he was like, remember that stupid little dance he did?
I mean, have you seen Tim Curry's goofy laugh as Penny?
Tim Curry was
You have to
He
embrace
seemed
that.
more like a serious Pennywise, though. This one, it hit like his voice was just not it for me.
Okay,
Very distracting.
I haven't seen the first one, so I don't know how he's changed from that one to this one. But I think Pennywise.
I think he was really consistent.
Sorry, we've hijacked your.
It's fine.
Yeah, we got it. Let's wrap this up.
Yeah. So I give it, I don't do number ratings, but I give it a thumbs up. I really like this, and if you like it, the book, the old miniseries, or the last movie that came out, you're gonna like this. I think it's a whole bunch of fun. I was smiling throughout the whole thing, even though it's kind of more like a sad, suspenseful horror movie.
Yes.
But it was really great. So I think that's it for our take on It Chapter 2. Tell us down below in the comments if you've seen it and your thoughts on the movie, if you agree with any of us or disagree with any of us, let us know. Sound off, because we definitely want to have a conversation with you. And I think from the Losers Club here at Take One, we are signing off. See you next time.